Well, when it comes to simplifying and decluttering our homes, what we hear over and over again is that this idea of inventory, of looking at everything in our home as items that we have to take care of and manage, that has been one of the most helpful ideas, right? And we talk about it over and over again. But what you may not realize is that this idea first came to me when I was talking about food inventory, managing our pantry, and meal planning. That's when it really clicked with me. And then I quickly realized that it doesn't just apply to our pantry, it applies to our whole house. And so today, let's talk about how we can simplify and streamline our pantry so that we cook at home more, we waste less food, and for me, so that I didn't despise cooking so much, because that was the worst. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom and we have 4 kids ages 7 through 12. And we love sharing about family minimalism and also how we can apply that to our kitchen, to cooking, to how we manage our pantry and all of the food in our home. And so today I want to share with you a few tips that I found that work for me. It's really hard to make mass generalizations when it comes to something as personal as what we cook 3 times a day, right? So I just want to share what has been really helpful for us, some tips, some things I've learned along the way, and then you can take what's helpful for you and leave the rest. And so, like I said, this idea of inventory first came to me in the pantry. I think what I realized is that when I was younger, I could remember things. I could remember what was in our pantry. I could remember things that were in the fridge and the freezer. But as I've gotten older, I don't even know that my memory is failing. I think my brain is just occupied with other more important tasks right now than keeping my grocery inventory. And so there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you if you are having food go bad in the fridge, if you're forgetting about things in the pantry. It just happens. There's just other things consuming our mental energy and bandwidth right now. And so that's totally okay. But we still don't want to waste food, and we still would like to cook at home more for a lot of us. So I want to talk about how I manage my pantry inventory, what we do with extra stuff if we're saving for like emergency storage, what to do with the random stuff that we come across, and then just a couple tips when it comes to meal planning that have really helped me. Okay, so pantry inventory. Here's what I realized. We are in a time where I think many of us want to have some extras on hand. It just seems wise that we would stock up on some non-perishables for just in case. And this is an area where I do think that's okay. I don't like to keep a lot of stuff for just in case, but when it comes to our bare bones needs for survival, I think that's not a bad idea, right? However, what I've learned is that I can't keep that stuff in with my regular pantry, because if the inventory in my pantry creeps up, I don't use it, I get overwhelmed, and I even find myself cooking less at home. It's too much inventory to manage in one space. And so I need to keep my pantry very simplified if I am going to cook at home. So we keep our extra food storage in our basement, and it's all non-perishable stuff because we do have rodents and things and water and all that could get into it and harm it. And so we just keep non-perishable stuff on a shelf down there. And then I don't have to think about that the rest of the time. When I go to cook dinner tonight, I don't want to think about my emergency stockpile, right? I want to set it, have it there, be done. Now, eventually, will I have to start rotating things out? Yes, but that will come down the road a little bit. For now, it's all fine. And again, I just want it out of my kitchen so that I don't have to manage it. Not all of us have basements or garages or attics. It can go under a bed, in an extra closet. But if at all possible, I would keep that extra inventory out of your cabinets. Okay, so tip 1 for a more minimalist pantry is to keep your extra foods or extra stockpile out of your everyday food rotation. Tip number 2 is to pull out all the weird stuff. So I love my grandma, she is great. And when we go to her house, often she will have gotten things for free at the grocery store or on, it's very discounted. So she will get it and then she'll pass it on to us. And it's lovely. I greatly appreciate it. However, sometimes we end up with random food that I don't normally cook with on a day in and day out basis. And so it's really helpful to grab any kind of bin, basket, or box and make a pass through your pantry and pull out all the weird random stuff. This happens to all of us. We see something on clearance or something's too good of a deal to pass up, or something's on sale and then we get extra of it only to find out we didn't actually like it. I've been placing an Instacart order for the last few weeks that had cream corn in it instead of like the sweet corn kernels, right? And so Adeline was like, Mom, why do we have all this cream corn? No one in our family likes that. And I'm like, oh no, I was ordering the wrong stuff. So we had like 6 cans of cream corn. And so I was like, okay, here's what we need to do. We either need to use it or donate it, because otherwise in the past, I would have just shoved that stuff to the back and then eventually it would have expired and I can't even donate it at that point, right? Because it just has to get thrown away. So grab a basket and just make a pass through your pantry and pull out all the weird stuff and throw it in this one spot. And then our goal is to use that up this week while we're cooking our meals. So, little known fact, maybe you already know this, if you strain cream corn, you'll get some whole kernels. Adeline, how many cans of cream corn did you have to strain to get like 1 can of regular corn? Like 2 or 3? Yeah. So that's one way to go about using it. Or if I would have had other stuff to donate, I probably would have just donated it. But put all of the weird stuff in here, and now your goal is to use this up while you're cooking. So when you go to meal plan this week, or when you get home, you're like, I need to find something to make for dinner, look through your basket, and our goal is to use all of that stuff up this week so that all of the weird and random stuff is pulled out and purged out of our pantry. Now that leads us to tip number 3, which is to have a very standard inventory in your pantry and your fridge. So here's what I've realized. Again, going back to bandwidth or mental energy or how much space I have right now for meal planning, cooking, and managing my pantry inventory. It's about this big, right? It's just the season we're in, and that's fine. If we can recognize that, understand how much time do I have to dedicate to cooking right now, and then set realistic expectations. So what's really helpful for me right now is to, like I said, have a very standard inventory in my pantry and in my fridge. So we always have the same things. And then from there, my next tip is to streamline your meal planning. So if you are out of the habit of cooking regularly at home, feels like things have been a little chaotic, you're out of the groove, then what I would recommend is setting a 2-week meal plan. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, this is what we cook on those days for 2 weeks. So that's about 14 meals, depending on how many meals you cook at home. But set a meal plan for 2 weeks and just put it on rotate until you have that down, until you're consistently cooking at home again. And then from there, you can decide to add in more recipes or add a little bit more variety. But what this did for me is I knew that all of the recipes on that 2-week meal plan were very easy, quick, simple. They were all recipes I knew, so that when it came to dinner time, it didn't require extra brain power to learn a new recipe or to try something different or to try any weird ingredients. And so that took a lot of stress off of me, knowing that I was going into dinner time making something that I could make very easily. So make sure for your 2-week meal plan, then have them be very simple recipes you know well, but then also plan for the busy nights. So if you know that once in a while or like every Wednesday night you have to just make something really quick, it's okay to put chicken nuggets and tater tots on or frozen pizza. Let's just plan for this. Life happens. This is a crazy time of year. And so let's just plan for it instead of setting us up for failure where it's like, oh no, I have 2 weeks of, like really healthy meals that take a long time to prep. No, let's be really realistic. So I'm gonna work in 3 nights of quick meals, but I know it's in the freezer. I know we're not buying fast food those nights. So yes, is it the most healthy meal ever? No, but as I get back in the habit of meal planning and cooking at home consistently, I can start to switch out some of these meals that were my convenience meals. Another tip that I think is really helpful that you've probably heard before is just to add in the healthy stuff. So yeah, we might be having chicken nuggets and tater tots, but I'm also gonna throw in some frozen broccoli or some carrots or whatever vegetable my kids will actually eat, right? Or for dessert, we're gonna cut up some apples for dessert. So instead of trying to switch out all of our meals for something that's really healthy, just think of how can we start to add in some healthier options, adding in a veggie or a fruit. We started like with our tacos, switching out the tortillas for rice, just little changes like that make it healthier without having to completely overhaul your meal planning right now. Because again, how much energy do we have for that? Not a lot, right? And that's okay. Let's just be really realistic right now. And then another tip is to get in a habit of re-inventorying or re-familiarizing yourself with what you have in both your pantry and your fridge on a regular basis. It's really helpful to just take a second throughout the week and go through quick and turn all the labels forward, put stuff back where it goes, doing things like this candle should be up on the top shelf, so putting that back up, straightening everything up. And again, we're making it look nicer, but we're also re-familiarizing ourselves with what's in there. Oh yeah, I wanted to use this up. Oh, I was gonna make that recipe with this. Oh, this is about to go bad. And similarly with the fridge. Like I said, I used to be able to remember it all, but now I try when I make dinner at night to just make a quick pass through the fridge and look, what leftovers are in there, what produce might be going bad soon. So by just taking a few minutes to remember what's in there, put stuff back where it goes, turn it forward, that is enough now that I feel like we waste so much less food because I remember what's in there. And so really the key for me has been keeping lower inventory. Again, keep as much in your stockpile elsewhere as you want, but in our actual pantry in the kitchen, keeping low inventory and a very consistent inventory has been the only thing that has helped me to not waste food and to cook at home more. And one other question that comes up frequently is, where do you keep your fruit? Because we don't keep it out on the counter anywhere. So we keep our produce here that doesn't need to be refrigerated. It doesn't look super fancy right now, but this is where it goes. And if there is something that is gonna go bad, like there was actually a banana that's like on its way out, then I put it on the counter because then it actually stands out to everyone like, oh, hey, this needs to get eaten up. And so if we have some produce that's like, ooh, this should get used soon, I'll put it in a bowl on the counter. But otherwise, I found it makes no difference if it's out or here. Even when we had a fruit bowl out on the counter, it became background noise or no one noticed it when it was always there. So it doesn't actually make a difference if we have it behind a cabinet door or out. What actually made the difference for us using it and not having it go bad all the time was when I started to get in the habit that after every meal, everyone had a piece of fruit, and that was kind of like our dessert. That has been the most helpful, is setting some of those habits of when we eat fruit or between meals if the kids are hungry. That's fine. You can always have veggies and fruit. That has been helpful, is pairing the habits with the fruit, not so much where we keep it in our house. And I'll also link to the pantry video that we did with my mom a little while back. That was a super fun video. So if you have more of a traditional pantry, like walk-in pantry, I thought that was so good. Like there were some really good decluttering tips and organizing tips in there. Definitely zoning and labeling things is huge if you have a bigger size pantry. It's a curse and a blessing, right? Sometimes more storage space isn't always better. So I'll link to that video down below. But I would love to know too, what has helped you to keep your pantry under control, or do any of these tips resonate with you? I mean, really for me, it's all about inventory, keeping the inventory low, and then I'm much more likely to cook and not waste food. And that is the name of the game for me. So I hope this is helpful. Oh, and I always forget to mention the workbook. The workbook is still for sale, $20 each. We are just about out of them, and so that would be the batch that will ship by Christmas. We will reorder and there will be more available. They just might not be available in time. So check the details on the website when you go to order about when they will ship if you do need it by Christmas. So thank you again for your support with that. We are so grateful and appreciative. All right, I love you. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you again soon.